Hey friends, welcome to the Beginner's Guide to F1. This is for those of you that are looking to get into Formula One. I'm just going to give you a quick overview of how race weeks work and some of the key terms that you may hear when watching races. So let's start. What's a Grand Prix, or also a Grand Prix? A Grand Prix is often called a GP. It's a race. Just think about Mario Kart. There are about 20 Grand Prix in each season, and the season runs from March to December with a little summer break in the middle. There isn't a Grand Prix every weekend during the season, but they often have 2 or 3 in a row. So here's an example of the F1 race calendar from 2025. You can pause if you want to look at more of the dates, but we'll move on now. So you might hear the term the grid a lot. The grid can mean all of the drivers currently driving that season. So you'll see here's the 2025 lineup. The grid can also refer to the starting grid, which is where each car lines up to start from on race day. How does a race weekend work? Usually there are 3 parts to a race weekend. There's practice, qualifying, and the race. Practice is usually Thursday and Friday, qualifying usually Saturday and Sunday. The race, of course, with varying time zones the days fall on different days. The drivers drive around the track at practice, and they try to get a feel of the track and test different ways to set up their car. Then at qualifying, which can also be called quali, that determines the starting grid, aka where the drivers will start the race from. And the drivers drive around as fast as they can, and they will line up from the fastest to the slowest on race day, which is usually Sunday. And at the race, the top 10 drivers receive points. At the end of the year, all of the points from all of the races are added up to crown a winner. So let's talk about the drivers and the teams. As of now, there are 10 teams, and each team has 2 drivers, making for an easy 20 drivers on the grid. So, for example, George Russell is here on the top, driving for Mercedes, and on the bottom, we have Kimi Antonelli, who is also driving for Mercedes. They drive different cars at the same time, but they're repping the same team, and that means that each team has 2 chances to score points. How do you score points? A driver can score points for placing in the top 10 at a Grand Prix, and the winner gets the most points, and then each place gets less and less points down the line. The points go both to the driver and to their team. At the end of the year, all of the points are added up to crown a winning team and a winning driver. What's a podium? Just like in Mario Kart, the top 3 drivers get a podium. These are more coveted than just placing top 10 because you get more points and there are also more records associated with them. You get more clout and you get to drink champagne. What's P1, P2? You'll hear this a lot. Oftentimes, people will refer to where a driver placed in a race starting with P. For example, if Alex finished 6th in the race, he would be P6. But the P can also denote where the driver is starting or how they placed in qualifying. And if Alex drove 6th fastest in qualifying, he would start P6. And it also can describe how someone did in practice as well. Although notably, there's no points or grid spots awarded for practice. What's pole position? Speaking of P1, pole position is awarded to the driver that went fastest in qualifying. This means they got P1 in quali and will start at the front of the grid for Sunday's race. It's a huge advantage and it helps drivers score points on race day. Also, there's clout, there's records, all the good stuff. So, what is a WDC? You might hear this a lot. It's what we're all doing it for. It's the World Drivers' Championship. Whichever driver scores the most points across the whole season is crowned world champion. There's also a Constructors' Championship, which is awarded to the team which scores the most points across the season. So you'll want both of your drivers to be good to get that. The prizes for the WDC and the Constructors' Championships are money and glory, of course. What's a pit stop? A pit stop is when the driver drives into the pit lane and the pit crew changes all 4 of their tires. The average pit stop is around 2.9 seconds, and recently they called 3.2 slow, so this may shock many NASCAR or other racing fans. I think the record is 1.9, but don't quote me. Each car is required to pit one or two times a race, depending on the race, and teams can strategize about when is the best time to pit. What's a safety car? It may be a good time to pit. It comes onto the track whenever there's debris or a minor crash that requires all of the drivers to drive slower. In the same family, a red flag happens when there is really bad weather or a bad crash. That means the race must completely stop. And then all the cars come into the pit lane and wait to restart. Here's how I would use safety car in a sentence. Uh-oh, Stroll's brought out the safety car again. Speaking of DNF, I think it stands for did not finish, and we might also call this retiring from a race. It can happen when someone crashes or has a technical problem like engine failure. And there's also the DNS, which is did not start. What's the team principal? The team principal, also called the TP, is the head coach of the Formula One team. They run the team. So, for example, here's Toto Wolff, the team principal of Mercedes. And lastly, what is a reserve driver? A reserve driver is a backup driver in case one of the drivers gets sick or injured. And the reserve drivers come to all of the races in case of emergency. Some teams, famously, have more than one reserve driver so they can split up the time the drivers need to come during the season and so that the team has options. That's all I have for you today. Let me know if there's anything else you want to know, and thank you so much.